Okay, so let's look at an IELTS Task 2 essay. And so the pattern is, to what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, so this is an opinion essay. So you should be arguing your point of view. Okay, arguing. I think there's no E. Arguing. I'm having a spelling crisis. There you go. It's not just you that thinks English is real hard. Okay, even native speakers hate English spelling. Yeah, there's no E. I thought so. Just pretend that didn't happen. Just keep playing the video. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So you should be giving an opinion. You should be arguing. You should be giving me reasons to support why you support one idea or the other, okay? So you'll have your sort of introduction, you'll have your reason 1, your reason 2, and your conclusion. So in this type of essay where you're arguing your opinion, okay, you don't necessarily have to say, some people believe A, however, some people believe B if you don't want to. You don't have to give both sides of the argument because you're presenting your own opinion, so it should be argumentative. I believe that blank. I believe that cats are better than dogs. My first reason is that cats are more low maintenance than dogs. Da, 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 da. Secondly, cats are more intelligent than dogs. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it's kind of like giving reasons to support your idea. So let's take a look at the topic. Some people believe that people should not continue to work once they reach the age of retirement. Do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and include relevant examples from your experience. Okay. So this is, again, something that's going to affect your task achievement. The task is asking you to include relevant examples from your experience, okay? So some candidates forget to do this, or they forget to give examples because they're so focused on other things. Make sure to do this, okay, if the question asks you to. And you can lie, okay? You don't have to be honest. You can make it up, okay? The examiner won't know if you've really done something or not. But that's something that you can double check when you're going back to check your answer after you finished writing. Did I include an example from my experience? Okay, if not, add it in because it's going to affect your task achievement. So let's take a look at the introduction. It is often argued that people should cease their work when they attain a certain age, while others think that society needs elders in many places. This is kind of too vague. Elders in many places argues that society needs elders in many places, because it's so vague. It's like, what, like in the kitchen, in a bathroom, in a public toilet? While others think society needs elders to continue functioning. Okay, maybe that's a bit more specific. We need elders old people in order to continue functioning in society. I agree that society and the local community still require seniors' ability and wisdom, and they should encourage them to work as much as they can. Okay, so now we've got your opinion. Nice. Okay, we've got a thesis statement. So I know clearly which side they agree with. This essay will discuss the beneficial impacts of the older generations' productivity in society. Okay, I really like this introduction in a lot of ways. I like that we have a clear thesis statement. I like that this essay has told me that they're going to focus on the benefits, okay, and not worry about the downside. So it's very, very clear what this essay is going to do. When I read an introduction to an essay, a good introduction is like a map. Your introduction should tell me exactly what we're going to discuss in the essay. What am I going to read next? Okay, so I like this introduction a lot. So let's look at the first paragraph. Okay, first thing I'm thinking when I look at this paragraph, too short. Okay, I'm thinking if this candidate wants to go for 6.0 and higher, 6.5, 7.0, this is too short. Okay, you should try and write more. I know it's hard to write a lot in 40 minutes, but that's where you've got to practice. Part of showing that you're 6.0 or 6.5 level writing is showing the examiner that you can write a lot in a shorter period of time, that you're confident writing quite fluently. So I've not even read it yet, and that's my first thought, is probably, okay, this is going to be 6.0 or lower because it's not very long. So let's take a look and see what the sentence says. To begin with, the older generations experience and ability are very useful in society. Although they are old and difficult to maintain a healthy daily routine, although they are old is a bit harsh. Although due to their age, it may be difficult to maintain a healthy daily routine. Okay, again, maybe. So you want to be a little bit cautious. You can't say 100% of all old people can't be healthy. It may be difficult to maintain a healthy diet, a healthy daily routine. Although due to their age, it may be difficult to maintain a healthy routine. People should not judge and assess one's experience. Experience based solely on age. They can deal with problems because they value what they have achieved and expect their ability to address the issues. Who's they in this sentence? Are these people? No, right? I think they mean old people, but this they is very confusing. So I think this whole sentence needs to be rephrased. Although due to their age, it may be difficult to maintain a healthy daily routine, people should not judge and assess one's experience based solely on age. Elderly people, in many situations, can deal better with problems because they have valuable experience and have many previous experiences which may have given them the ability to address these issues. Okay, so that's much more clear, okay, and much more focused. Because this sentence that this candidate has written is very vague. And when I say vague, the meaning is not very clear. It's not easy for me to understand what they're trying to say. They, who are they, can deal with problems because they value what they have achieved. They value what they have achieved. Value in terms of what? Money or ability or good things. And expect their ability to address the issue. Again, what issues? What issues? Whose ability? What ability? Okay. So this sentence is much more specific. It's saying elderly people in many situations can deal better with problems because they have valuable experience and have many previous experiences which may have given them the ability to address these issues. So because they're older, they have more experience. Due to this, they may have better ability to address lots of various issues. Okay, this is a perfect example of why seniors are still an essential part of society. Okay, now what I think is missing from this paragraph and what would make it longer is to include an example. Okay, remember how the question wants you to include examples from your life. Okay, this would be a great chance to put one in. For example, my elderly neighbor retired last year, yet was the only person able to fix my building's boiler when it broke, as he had already experienced this happening several years ago. The young people in the building had no experience of fixing a boiler. However, my elderly neighbor was the one to solve the situation. This is a perfect example of why seniors are still an essential part of society. Okay, so that's really what's missing in this body, and that's, I think, what would have made it a lot stronger. Okay, next paragraph. Secondly, the younger generation could learn a variety of things from elders. Okay, young people have burning enthusiasm for everything. So I think this is a direct translation from Korean. I imagine burning enthusiasm. We would never actually say this in English. Okay, it would just say young people have enthusiasm for everything. And however, so we can't put and however together, right? Because it's contrasting. So, however, sometimes they struggle to solve challenges as they lack experience. When they take the advice of senior people they're able to reduce time to think. They're able to reduce their thinking time and gain insight from secondhand experience. It was reported in the Korean Herald that 80% of those who take advice from retirement age people have increased their productivity at their business. This illustrates that older generations could be positive examples to young generations. Could be positive examples. Okay. So again, I think this is okay in terms of what they're trying to do. I think, again, they have got an example here about the Korean Herald, which I like. But again, I think they need to be more specific with what they're saying. And it's a little bit vague. And I think what's making it feel a little bit lacking is that they don't have enough examples and they don't have enough data in here. Just listing a couple of examples of things that an older person could help you with in the workplace. And it's very similar to the point they made here, which is that they've got lots of experience. And this is like, yeah, and they also have lots of experience. So maybe they could have talked about them, providing a link for continuity and traditions, maintaining traditional ways of doing things while younger generations want to replace everything with modern technology, like a point that was slightly different. And so I think it's okay, but we're really lacking in examples and detailed explanation. They're basically saying, this candidate has said the same thing several times. Older people are more experienced and that's good. And so that's basically the message of both paragraphs is the same. They've not really said anything different. They've not really explained in a lot of detail what's going on. So let's look at the conclusion. In conclusion, there is no doubt that elders experience that the experience of elderly people in society the experience and ability of elderly people in society can support our society in various aspects, in various ways. They could positively impact the young generation to give them beneficial advice and wisdom. This should be linked. For example, by positively impacting the younger generation to give them beneficial advice and wisdom. Therefore, society should encourage them to work and be part of social members as long as possible. This I'm not really sure. And be a part of society, be an active member of society, maybe something like that. So in terms of task achievement, this kind of given it a good go, but there's quite a few parts of it that are missing. So I would probably give it a 5.5 for task achievement. I would say they need to work on writing a longer answer because that's going to help them explain and expand. Okay, so what do I mean by that? By giving more reasons, by giving more examples, by explaining your logic in clearer detail. So this is one of the frustrating things about writing an essay, is that you feel like, well, of course, it's obvious. Old people have more experience, but you need to explain it in more detail. Elderly people have worked in the workforce for much longer and therefore have a stronger knowledge of older traditions and older practices and solutions that younger people might not know. For example, in my company, there was an electricity cut after an earthquake, and it was impossible for us to fulfill the customer's orders using our modern internet system. However, our eldest employee, my senior, had experience of fulfilling customers' orders using a non-internet-based system, and he was able to show us how to do that. We could fulfill all our customers' orders using a filing system and fax without having to use the internet. You know, this is one example of how elderly people in the workforce can bring valuable experience. Okay, so from what I just said, can you hear how that was much more detailed and much more explained and supported with examples? And so that's what this candidate really needs to work on. They basically said the same sentence several times, but they didn't explain why in enough detail, and then they didn't support that why with examples. Okay, so cohesion and coherence, again, probably sitting in that 5.5 range. They did have paragraphs. They did have some linking words. I thought the conclusion could have been a bit stronger. I did like the introduction. So I would probably sit it at a 5.5, maybe creeping up to a 6. Vocabulary, I would put in a sort of 5.0. There was a couple of issues with the old generation, the young generation, the older generation and the younger generation. And the use of sort of talking about elder and senior a lot. So they were trying really hard to paraphrase old people. But you don't, in English, we would never really say, oh, the senior person, the elder person. It's the elderly people or older people or more senior people. So we wouldn't just say old person because that sounds quite rude in English. It's better to be sort of compare a little bit and sort of be a bit more gentle. In terms of grammar, there were some points where the sentences were quite vague and hard to understand. So I probably put grammar at a 5.0. So I think in terms of rounding up, we're probably coming out at a sort of a 5.5 if I'm being generous. But honestly, I really think this candidate can really improve their task achievement for sure by writing more and giving more examples. I thought their coherence and cohesion was probably the strongest part of this essay. And then just check their vocabulary a little bit more.